A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, it is a period of faith being tested in the face of crucial choices. One man finds himself shouldering burdens he never asked for, overseeing the election that will decide the future of an entire religion. Caught in the roles of both player and pawn, he is forced to confront the line between faith, duty, and the self to find the best possible outcome, even if that means he has to cross lines he never imagined. Conclave contains depictions of smoking and discussions of sexual assault, and our discussion of this movie during this episode does get more than a little raunchy as we're talking about the Catholic Church and all its quirks and foibles and failings, so please proceed according to your needs and comfort level, and if I have Catholics in the audience, this is all done with affection, and this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. The views expressed therein are solely those of the speakers, and do not necessarily reflect the views of their employers, and, peace be with you. Hello there, and welcome back to 6 Degrees of Star Wars, the podcast where we explore all the ways George Lucas's flagship franchise surrounds us, binds us, and penetrates us in the landscape of cinema. I'm your host, Sam Marchioni. May the Force be with you.
And with your spirit.
You.
Perfect unity as things are in the Catholic Church, obviously. Joining me today, Gillian Quigley.
This movie begs the question, what if people in power did their damn job? And does it answer it? Possibly.
Meredith Cook.
Ave Maria, it's good to see ya doing the Vatican rag.
And for the very first time, please welcome two of my favorite kinds of cheese, Brie Cheddar.
Hello, I'm just hitting my vape in the background, don't mind me.
It's Easter weekend, and in its infinite wisdom, the Chance Cube has given us the 2024 movie Conclave.
Greetings, I am IER60, Star Wars Retelling Connections. Point of intersection found. This is a degree 4, featuring Garrick Hagen, Red 3 Biggs in A New Hope, and Madhav Sharma, Senator number 2 in Andor. Additional Oscar material found. Conclave won for Best Adapted Screenplay at the 97th Academy Awards.
And in addition to the Star Wars actor connections, which make it a degree 4, it also has, I guess, a degree 5 in the form of the set. If you are particularly savvy and obsessed with the Phantom Menace, as I have been, you might have noticed that there is an Italian palazzo that was used in Phantom Menace and is used in Conclave 2.
Nice.
Well, Conclave TOO. Conclave 2 was what happened in 2025 when Pope Francis passed away, rest in peace, and Pope Leo was elected.
Pope.
Pope from Chicago. Pope from Chicago.
Philadelphia also claims him because he went to Villanova.
I'm here to talk about John Paul II for a full half hour later. So.
Yeah, I'm not Catholic personally. I grew up Episcopalian. I'm now semi-agnostic / pagan witch with Athena as my patroness. But growing up Episcopalian, you are basically diet Anglicanism, and Anglicanism is diet Catholicism. So Episcopalianism is Catholicism 0.
I'll trust you on that. Yeah, I've always had a very strange relationship with the papacy. So very much like every Polish millennial. So like in Poland, we're not actually called the millennial generation. We're not even called Generation Y. No, we're called the JP2 generation. So it stands for John Paul II, the Polish Pope. He had a massive cult following here. And given that we had religion in public schools, we would hear about him every single bloody day of our lives. And when he died, the conclave was very much broadcast. And the conclave that elected Ratzinger, the Hitler Jugend Pope. Yeah, it was very much broadcast, so I would hear all about it constantly, all the time.
How long did that conclave last?
I would have to look that up. I'm sorry. So I will mute myself and check that.
I'm now wondering, like, how much the guy who wrote the book that this is based on, and also Peter Strawn, who won the Oscar for adapting the screenplay, like how much were they drawing from IRL conclaves? Because, you know, with the Hitler Youth Pope, they bring that up with the Italian conservative dude. And like, apparently in the book, Benitez was Filipino, but they changed him to Mexican. And I'm like, is that in reference to Pope Francis having been Argentinian, but they wanted to kind of mask it a little bit?
From what I remember reading the Wikipedia page, there was a cardinal who had participated in a conclave that was a consultant on the book. I could talk about this screenplay for 2 hours. I have a job that allows me to get a lot of free time for reading, and I am a writer, and find reading screenplays to be really helpful to my process. And I just happened to be reading the Score Conclave when the Chance Cube said it was the time. So I was very excited for this. Congregation, I did extensive notes about the differences between the script version and this. Needless to say, I'll leave it at this absolutely won the Oscar for Best Adapted Screenplay. This was a phenomenal read.
Also, I have just checked. The 2005 conclave was held on the 18th and 19th of April. So it took 2 days, and there were 4 ballots.
Oh, cool. Man, they really conked that clave.
Yeah. So was he announced on 420?
Oh, I definitely hope so.
Beautiful. Blaze it be the Pope.
Benedict is the most Star Wars Pope because obviously he based his appearance on Palpatine, so...
I don't know enough about Benedict.
Oh my god, you don't?
Know. Pope Francis is the first pope that I really remember, and now I'm just kind of living my best life, looking over every so often and like, oh, there's Pope Leo, casually being like, all the nations of the world need to have universal health care. And everybody in the US is like, is this fucking play about us? The answer is yes. I swear to God, the conclave that elected Pope Leo was like, who is the Pope who would most piss off certain Americans?
Okay, so I'm putting something in the voice chat.
Oh no.
Oh my God,
Yep.
Kidding.
Let the papacy flow through you. Let the papacy flow through you.
Ratzinger, in addition to having been a member of the Hitlerjugend, it is true, also looks remarkably like Palpatine as the Emperor. So, love that.
Speaking of woke popes, congratulations.
Congratulations, Cardinal Benitez. I liked Benitez so much. Benitez was just soft boy.
Yeah, he, of course, marks a real milestone in the history of the papacy by being the first pope with great hair.
Real.
Would it be a cardinal sin to go up to the Holy Father and be like, floofy, floofy, floofy?
Cardinal sin.
He would let you.
Pope Innocence. Do you use Tresemme?
I was briefly looking at the names when did you guys stick with actor names, or were you calling them by character names when it was an actor that you recognized?
Immediately, I just kept calling Stanley Tucci, but eventually I managed to note down the character names.
Oh yeah, the Tooch is just the Tooch.
I took notes, but I did refer to Bellini as Stanley Tucci most of the time.
Well, the moment when he asked Ray Fiennes, what do you want your papal name to be? And Ray Fiennes was like, John. And then I went back into my brain, how many Pope Johns have there been? And the answer is too damn many. I am of the opinion that once there have been 10 popes with the same name, we retire that name.
Yeah, obviously, but then they cheat and they give them 2 names like John Paul.
Or John with an N. John with just an N. No H.
I had a strange case of just referring to Cardinal Tedesco, played by Sergio Castellitto, as Peter Coffin, because he just looked a lot like just the Nazbol YouTuber Peter Coffin. And it's incredible how much of they kind of have the same annoying energy, and I immediately just thought he was him the first time I watched it.
It does look like the cardinal most likely to have a Manosphere podcast.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
I think we all probably have to talk about the vape, but I think the vape is like the very important symbol here. Like it feels kind of like strange and alien, like intrusive in a holy place full of tradition like the Vatican. I feel like despite his actor like being 72, he kind of symbolizes like a more neo-reactionary, incendiary position from the younger generation of like conservative priests in contrast to like Tremblay's, John Lithgow's old school conservatism.
Absolutely. When I was reading the script, the vape was not in the script at all. That was just something that the actor decided to bring in.
Oh my god.
Beautiful.
Wonderful.
Choose your pope. Vape pope, turtle pope. I did not know about the turtles. That was a nice little surprise. And I'm not really a reptile person. But goddamn, Ray Fiennes was robbed.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, this was such a phenomenal performance.
I was so tempted to refer to him as Friar Lawrence the entire time. And I'm just like, no.
Wrong part of Italy.
Exactly.
Honestly,
This ain't Verona.
If he had been in Romeo and Juliet, I think Romeo and Juliet would have lived.
Real.
Speaking of Friar Lawrence's, Miami's actor also was Friar Lawrence in the Jesse Buckley, Josh O'Connor Romeo and Juliet, which that is really cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I first knew him as Iago I have his Letterboxd right up. The Royal Shakespeare Company Othello from 2015, which that's a damn good Othello.
Is that the Patrick Stewart one?
No, that is the Hugh Quarshie. I don't think
Hugh Quarshie, Captain Panaka Quarshie? Okay, cool.
Captain Panaka. That is, yeah. I ended up studying it a couple times. It's very interesting because it also has a black Iago, so that
Adeyemi is such a Shakespearean character, I feel like. Like having the ambition and having the tragic flaw, if you want to call it that, and then just like having such a fall was so well done. Was like so it's so compelling.
Honestly, this movie is a series of falls.
I really like the scene of the confrontation, between Lawrence and him, and that moment at the end, because we know by then that Lawrence has had trouble praying. That's basically his. This is basically the gist of his doubts when it comes to his faith. And that moment when Adeyemi just asks him to join in his prayers, and Lawrence just hesitates before awkwardly agreeing. Like even in Adeyemi's moment of weakness, like when he's confronted with his sins and his predatory past, like in Lawrence's eyes, his faith is still Adeyemi's faith is still stronger than his own.
So I'm sure we all have our own relationships with organized religion. I was raised in a very hippy dippy church. Unitarianism's great. It's like it's very hippie anyway, and I'm very agnostic at this point. But I find stories about people who have faith and wrestle with it really, really compelling. So Conclave, Jesus Christ Superstar, and Wake Up Dead Man are some of my favorite pieces of media, and it doesn't question or doesn't even bring up the thought of having the assumption that the audience believes in God. It's only important to the characters that they have that faith. I find that really, really chef's kiss.
Indeed.
I was raised in a very Catholic country, obviously 90% Catholic, and I have a bit of a different relationship with it, because I see it as deeply. I see Catholicism as deeply oppressive, and the woke Pope is nice, but I am slightly cautious. So yeah, I think the film is a really good story, a fun little intrigue with a colorful cast and a rich setting with a cool environment. And when it comes to the portrayal of the church, I think when I came out of the cinema, my first thought was okay, this gave me a lot of kind of naive Aaron Sorkin bullshit vibes, where conservative agents can be swayed by or silenced by a powerful speech. It kind of felt like Cope to me, but I kind of understand how it's different, because I grew up in a state that I spent the 2010s listening to the Polish church calling the LGBT community the rainbow plague, the successes of the red plague, just demonizing queer people, women, immigrants, and people of other faith, countrywide and locally. And this was still during the pontificate of Pope Francis, so it was still I knew about like the liberal reformer presence in the Catholic Church, but I always found it a bit overstated, and I never kind of trusted it.
Oh yeah, don't take any of my praise of the characters that are Catholic of any endorsement of the Catholic Church. I wrote this it kind of feels like I wrote in my notes as a joke, like, man, this movie rocks. I wish Italy were real. But like
I wish the Catholic Church
really I wish, yeah, it's like it feels so hopeful and it feels so progressive that it has to feel fake.
Unfortunately, the Aaron Sorkin comparison is entirely too apt and has kind of ruined my enjoyment of the movie.
I'm so sorry.
It's not your fault, it's Aaron Sorkin's fault.
Sorkin!
Aaron Sorkin would not go to, I have no idea if this is actually what like Vatican dormitories look like, but God, is that dystopian decor, like the little cubbies where they're all living.
Very liminal spaces, yeah.
Very liminal space. It feels so like claustrophobic at times. They're literally shutting themselves away from the rest of the world. I feel like the sound design also specifically helps with that. Something I'm pissed that I don't even know if they were up for best sound design, but they should have won best sound design. The way that they just used silence so well, and also they did this thing where they brought Ray, after the movie was done, they brought Ray Fiennes into a booth and had him just like breathe as Cardinal Lawrence over the whole film. And that's why like if you're listening with headphones, it literally feels like he's just breathing in your ear. To feel like you're just watching him.
They were up for score, they were not up for sound.
Damn. There are a lot of things where you feel like, really, you didn't nominate them for that, but then you're also like, you nominated them for best costume design?
What?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not denying these are very nice looking costumes, but it feels like you don't have a lot of room to interpret a vision when you're trying to recreate Catholic vestments. Maybe they just didn't feel like there was a lot to do when, like, kind of everybody knew it's gonna be fucking Wicked. Like,
right.
Yeah. The other nominees that year were Nosferatu and Gladiator 2 and A Complete Unknown, and it was like, it's Wicked. It's fucking Wicked.
It's gonna be Wicked.
I was just going to respond to the note about the score. While taking notes for this, I kept listening to the score by Volker Bertelmann. If I was still in an online D&D group, it would definitely land on my D&D playlist.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And when it comes to the costumes, the color grading in the indoor scenes sometimes was a bit iffy for me, since like at times I couldn't tell the difference between red and purple, which is kind of important when you have to tell cardinals and bishops apart. So yeah, that's kind of difficulty with the costumes, really.
At least we got that sicked evil cape for Tedeskov.
Yep. Evil cape.
I'm sorry, Edna Mode. I love capes. I love capes so much. I want to bring them back. Capes and cloaks.
It just brings the drama.
Cloaks are especially nice because you can like wrap them up. You're in a little blanket.
Yeah, and you can also do like a dramatic flick and then walk off with either cloaks or capes. You can't do that with a cardigan. Well, you can do that with a cardigan. Depends on how long the cardigan is, but that is also beside the point.
Cape's good. I very much agree.
I kept calling Archbishop Wozniak Scott the Woz.
Oh God. Yes, there is Polish representation in this. There is a Polish bishop called Janusz Woźniak, played by Jacek Koman. And yeah, while they pronounced the Janusz right, they absolutely did bodge the surname. It's Woźniak, yeah. And of course, I have to note the Polish guy is drinking. So very
of course.
apt.
Yeah, I mean, the screenplay doesn't exactly avoid stereotypes, like to the point where Nigerian people were like, hey, can we maybe not have had our representation in this movie been the one who was doing the sexual abuse? Like, the exact quote was, sexual abuse has become in the last few decades the defining moral damage of Western Catholicism, yet the ahistorical vision of Conclave pins that responsibility not on a cardinal from any of those Western countries, but on its sole Black African papabile.
Yeah, not the best, to be honest.
Honestly, like, I think if you had swapped Lucien Mismati with John Lithgow, nothing really would have been changed.
To be honest, John Lithgow plays kind of probably the priest I've encountered the most in my youth, just like a greedy, scheming, massive hypocrite whose like sense of self-righteousness makes him completely blind to his own sins. It's like something I'm very familiar with. So,
Sounds like the kind of
I think
person who
nailed
would
it.
almost say no to being in a certain remake of a series run by a transphobe.
Yep.
Yep.
Life imitates art, art imitates life.
John Lithgow looks like a thumb in this movie, and I have nothing good to say about him.
Yeah, he absolutely looks like a thumb.
Like a thumb.
There was a cut bit from the screenplay where it's implied that Tedesco and Adeyemi were then trying to conspire together right after Adeyemi was ousted. So just further proving that evil plans are afoot with John Lithgow.
I really liked Stanley Tucci's portrayal of Bellini as a man who's like very true in his wish to reform the church and to like bring as much good to the institution as possible. One that will like not compromise on his own position, but will still choose the lesser evil to avoid a greater one. And he's also a man whose own ambitious desires and jealousy come out, and when he does see his chance of becoming the Bishop of Rome slowly being stripped away, I thought it was a great little performance.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal performance from Tucci.
I feel like Tucci should have been in the best supporting actor conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like, that whole thing about we need to be practical and think about the lesser of two evils. I'm like, God damn, was there any election in 2024 that was safe from this shit?
No.
Politics.
I've got to say, I really like how Lawrence sounds like he's about to cry, even when he's being confrontative. Like he's got such bottom energy over the course of this entire film. When John Lithgow goes, "I shall pretend this conversation never took place," but it has taken place.
I was going to say, are we going to talk about the Tumblrification of Conclave?
Oh my God.
There's a video essay about how the folks of the fine folks on Tumblr.com looked at this 2.5-hour film filled with old men and were like, it's yaoi time.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I mean, that's true when you give Tumblr anything that's predominantly men.
Mm-hmm.
My exposure to the fandom was mainly on the Twitter side with the edits or like Pope Crave, my beloved.
Yeah, that one edit using MF Doom. Amazing.
That one edit using World Burn from Mean Girls.
I'm also, like, I'm not sure if this was, like, makeup or just Ray Fiennes acting, but I swear Lawrence kept looking older and older as the movie went on. Like, he aged 100 years.
I mean, can you blame him? Can you blame Lawrence in this situation?
No.
He has to babysit all these fucking priests.
He just wanted to retire.
And he doesn't even get to do that.
I feel like we gotta talk about Isabella Rossellini and the absolute queen that Sister Agnes is in this film.
Honestly, like, I had spent a lot of the movie being like, I don't get how she got a Best Supporting Actress nomination from this. And then the scene where Lawrence breaks into the Pope's apartments happened. I'm like,
It's so
everything about that scene is so good. From the moment the music cuts out because Lawrence snapped the seal, just the whole thing. And then I started friendshipping them.
Yes.
On the cinematography side, I really like something related to Sister Agnes. That one cutaway when Lawrence is making his speech on the first day, and when he talks about the diversity of people and views in the church, and then it cuts away to Sister Agnes listening in from behind the wall, highlighting her exclusion. I thought that was really nice.
Also, when Cardinal Benitez is like blessing the meal, he's the only one to acknowledge the hundreds of other sisters that are supporting them and says, bless the sisters who helped made our meal for us.
Hell yeah.
Woke Pope!
Woke Pope!
Only in fiction.
Yep.
Never trust them. The opening shot of the first day of the conclave is very striking. The one where Lawrence is just looking down on all the other cardinals chattering in the plaza. It gives very Netflix preview image vibes.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna just post it in the chat.
I mean, it gives Game of Thrones to me more than Netflix, but I absolutely see where you're coming from. Mostly because that shot has definitely been in Game of Thrones, but...
absolutely.
I was shocked when I found out this was based on a book and not a play because it has massive stage play energy. I think the one thing keeping it from being a stage play is the fact that you'd have to have like 100+ cast members to be accurate or whatever.
You know, actually, every couple decades they do an immersive production of Conclave, and they do it actually in the Vatican. It's so cool.
So chill. That's rad as hell. What am I thinking about? Now I'm just thinking about the reading they did last year with...
Oh yeah, Aobari, Josh Gad, other people that I can't remember the names of.
Oh my god.
Patton Oswalt.
Can we also talk about how Dead Pope was like playing 4D chess?
Literally wrote in my notes, this is such a chess game of a film.
Also, I really like how Stanley Tucci immediately is like, "Hey, can I have his chess set? I really like playing chess with him. Can I just have it, please, please?"
Oh my god, I didn't even foreshadow.
Literally, yeah. And he literally said the previous Pope always won.
Yeah, it also speaks a lot about Bellini, how he. He starts this whole scheme to like basically prevent Tremblay and prevent Tedesco from getting elected, but nothing goes his way basically.
Yeah, his whole character is literally he's playing the Conclave like it's a chess game and not to find what feels spiritually correct, and that's why he's not ready to be Pope.
I was curious about the previous conclaves and the John Paul II one, which took place just after. Basically, John Paul I was the William Henry Harrison of popes because he was just pope for 28 days or something, and then so he was elected in August. Then he died in September, and then John Paul II was elected. So basically, also just 2 days. But the 78th conclave was 8 ballots in John Paul II's one and 4 ballots in John Paul I's one.
Speaking of fictional popes, if I had a nickel for every time there was a famous fictional pope who was not entirely ensigned male at birth, I would have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. Who here has heard of Pope Joan?
Yes!
Yes! Yeah, I definitely have.
I feel like I know that name, but I don't remember the context.
Pope Joan was probably a fictional person who was said to be a woman who was very learned, who disguised herself as a man to, like, according to the different versions of lore, because this is like 13th century folk tales.
Oh, was this during a Pope, anti-Pope era when there was
sometime
like 2 popes?
It was sometime during the Pope fights in the Middle Ages. There was a myth that there was a previous female pope who was pretending to be a man for someone that she loved that was in the College of Cardinals and was a well-respected pope, but then oops, she gave birth, she's not, and then got excommunicated. And Cardinal Benitez, according to the Wikipedia page, was in some part partially inspired by that story. If you have seen or read the play Top Girls, she is one of the characters that is named in the like opening scene. Dramaturgy.
Yay!
Nice. I heard about the story, but I never knew that she was fictional. I thought that was a historical fact.
There's still debate, again, according to the Wikipedia dives I have done. There's still debate, but it's leaning towards probably fictional because all the stories that we have about her are posthumous, so at least 400 years from before things would actually have happened, and there's nothing from around the time that she would have reigned that lead to her existing.
Right. So yeah, could go either way.
Who knows?
Also, like, I have the same level of difficulty I do with female pope as I do with those conspiracy theories of, like, actually, Queen Elizabeth I was a man because the baby that Anne Boleyn had died and they swapped it out with the male baby. And I'm like, you know the whole reason that Henry VIII separated the Church of England from the Roman Catholic Church was because he wanted a baby with a penis, right? I feel like this would have been noticed.
It would have been noticed. It has the same revisionist history tinge as Shakespeare couldn't have written Shakespeare because he's not posh.
At least we know that the first trans femme Roman emperor was Elagabalus.
I have not heard of Elagabalus.
Oh, I'll send you a link later then. The papacy is a fun thing. When John Paul II got elected to such an important post on the world stage, like, oh, we're a provincial country. Nobody talks about us on the world stage. So like everyone here just did the DiCaprio pointing meme, and it got fucking absurd, especially when he finally kicked the bucket, because everyone here would remember the hour of the Pope's death, up to the point that now it's like a meme among my generation here. 9:37 p.m. We all remember it, and Catholics all over the country would sing his favorite song, "Lord, You Have Come to the Lakeshore." Over 1,000 schools and 600 streets got named after him, including the street I grew up on. And the statues. Oh, let me tell you about the statues. We erected statues of the guy fucking everywhere. There are over 800 of them now in Poland, and some of them are very interesting. Let me show you some examples.
Let us see.
Here's the thinking emoji strongman one.
Thick Pope.
Thick Pope!
That man built like a brick.
Wait, hang on. Wouldn't building Pope statues like this be a violation of the whole false idols thing? Like, isn't this the kind of shit Martin Luther got really pissed about?
I mean, this was the Orthodox Church. I think we were the iconoclasts. I could be wrong though, but yeah. In any case, there we go. There's the Voyeur Church, and this is my personal favorite. This is Pope John Paul II casting a meteorite at the spectre of communism.
Me when I'm about to throw a giant-ass snowball at my brother.
Why wasn't that featured in this movie? Why did nobody pick up a giant rock and try to throw it at John Lithgow?
And then I threw a rock at it.
I threw a rock.
It was a big rock.
We did have like the bombing thing, but that was different.
May I read the passage of the explosion scene from the script?
Oh, please do. I'm very interested in this.
Ooh.
The explosion is first felt in a ripple in the floor, a bass vibration throughout the body. Then the boarded windows are blasted in, raining glass down on the chapel. For a moment, Lawrence stands, stunned, wondering, almost hoping that he is dead. Time slows. For the first time, bright morning light floods the former gloom of the chapel, and Lawrence finds himself dwarfed and pitiful before Michelangelo's vast fresco of the Last Judgment. The work burns brilliantly before him, Christ dividing the damned from the saved. He turns again and finds the doors at the end of the vestibule beginning to open, screeching across the glass-strewn floor.
Damn.
That's why it won Best Screenplay.
Holy shit.
Can I read one more? Sorry.
Yeah, of course.
Why
Go
not?
ahead. I was mesmerized.
I wrote 5 pages of just the best parts of the screenplay and also what they cut out. So I'm trying so hard to be brief. I promise I'm trying. Okay. This is the part from Lawrence voting for himself right before the explosion. Lawrence stares down at his own sheet, for the first time at a loss to what name to write. He closes his eyes, hoping for inspiration, some sign. Nothing comes. He opens his eyes, looks up, and finds Tedesco watching him. The patriarch raises his eyebrow in an amused complicity. Just you and me. Lawrence looks down at his pen, feeling that he no longer has a choice. Slowly, he writes a name on the ballot. Lawrence. He stands and holds the ballot above his head, walks down the aisle and waiting the chalice, knowing he is about to sin.
Oh, shit.
I know. There's some banger lines in this thing.
Yeah.
And it's just free online to read.
Yes. Also on the Twitter side of the fandom, there's all the Drag Race and Survivor parallels.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
I literally had the note Drag Race is Conclave, but for gay people.
It was also definitely very funny to, like, the French had to get some shit on them. Like, France isn't even that Catholic a country anymore, but we still had to be like, ugh, the French.
Ugh, the French. Hey, it wouldn't be Pope fights without bringing up the French. If you have not watched the fantastic Pope fight series on Overly Sarcastic Productions, highly, highly recommend.
Almost everyone in this movie has a very big forehead. What is my...
That too.
Yeah, it does make it hard to tell them apart by that. If I did not know what Ray Fiennes looked like as concretely as I do, I probably would have been a little bit more lost.
That's why Benitez stands out just so visually, because he's the only one that has like bangs when you're seeing him. And it's just a sea of bald men otherwise. Tucci the baldest.
So I did a little Google actually, because I was like, I wanted to see if somebody had taken the time to like write down every ballot breakdown that had the votes read out. And as I was going there, somebody was like, actually, Benitez shouldn't be a cardinal, because apparently like the process by which he was made a cardinal only counted for as long as the Pope who appointed him was alive.
Huh.
So, like, basically, if he wasn't publicly declared a cardinal, he shouldn't have been a cardinal once dead Pope was dead. But sometimes dramaturgy is secondary to good story.
Yeah.
Apparently, that was also, like, some kind of point of contention in terms of, like, people were saying that Francis was not actually a legitimate pope because Benedict's resignation didn't count for some reason.
Semantics.
Semantics is how you get religious schisms.
There's nothing Catholics love more than getting pedantic.
I don't know how much is true. I was meaning to research this today before the podcast, but I did not managed to do it in time. I heard the rumor that like in the 2025 conclave, the cardinals were still so newly appointed that most of them didn't know how the conclave was supposed to work. So they watched the movie to as an instructional manual.
So this movie is to the conclave as my cousin Vinny is to courtroom.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, no, it is mentioned in the Wikipedia article for the movie. It's cited as being from Politico Europe.
Oh my god.
Apparently, one of the cardinals who watched to educate themselves was Robert Prevost, aka Pope Leo XIV.
There we are then.
Yeah.
I think it's so weird that we know the Pope's Letterboxd top 4. Like, I didn't think that was something they should be able to have, you know?
I mean, the real question is, did Leo play Undertale?
Maybe.
Was he around when Matt Pat showed him?
Does he play Among Us is what I want to know.
I mean, this movie is Among Us.
It's the thing, but Catholics.
but everyone is red, and everyone is red sus.
Everyone is red. Everyone is sus. Maybe there's some imposters.
The only problem is that nobody's crawling through the vents.
Yeah.
Yep.
They are breaking into apartments, though.
They are breaking into apartments.
True.
If you're curious, Pope Leo's top 4 are It's a Wonderful Life, Ordinary People, Sound of Music, and Life is Beautiful.
The hills
I
are
think
alive.
there was like a Sound of Music reference in this movie. Specifically, some of the liturgical music. I've been in the Sound of Music. I played a nun in the Sound of Music. It was weird. I was younger than the girl playing Liesel, but I was playing, I think it was Sister Bertha. But anyway, there's, we had to learn a bunch of liturgical music, and what I remember is Sicut erat in principio ut nunc et semper, et in saecula saeculorum, amen. And I could have sworn I heard that music when they were doing it before the homily that Lawrence did.
Oh, I thought that Sister Isabella said, "What is it you can't face?" and I just missed it.
Now she just turns to Cardinal Lawrence and is like, Lyman!
Well, that's better than offering him magic stay young forever juice. Death becomes her.
Anyway, he has a John Paul dome that he can hide under.
So many John Pauls.
I am learning so much more about Pope John Paul II than I expected to.
Dome Pope!
Dome Pope. For those merely listening and not looking at the many statues of Pope, it's basically like a tent with Pope head on top, and he's like folding you into his cloak.
I am going to when you post
like Mother Ginger.
When you post,
it is Mother Ginger.
I am just going to post all of those images under your announcement. Did you know about his favorite cream pie? Anyway, never mind.
Cream pies.
Yeah, the Pope, Pope John Paul II, big fan of cream pies, famously.
Every sperm is sacred, if Monty Python goes by anything.
If we were assigning a dessert to Pope Innocent the 14th, what dessert do we assign him? Some kind of pastelito, or what are we thinking?
Flan, because it's just so warm and comforting, and it's like complicated and easy. So something, it knows what it is to exist between the world's certainties, which is such a banger line.
Are you saying that Benitez is easy? Well, that'll be something for the Tumblr people.
Oh, I'm sure there's plenty of literature about all of these men sucking and also fucking.
we need to counterbalance this against the long-standing fandom racism, though.
Yeah.
Papal cream pie. I'm sorry, I just can't get over. I just can't get over how it's a headline in the Wikipedia article. It's just not good.
Is that that should be an AO3 tag.
That is absolutely an AO3 tag, and I don't want to sully my search history to find out.
I mean, AO3 doesn't preserve your search history or have an algorithm. That's one of the beautiful things about AO3. Anyway,
do you want to see a glass pope?
Glass pope!
Or like a Terminator. Like a Terminator Pope. I'm not actually sure.
I would call that a Mecha Pope.
I think it's funny that there were, and possibly still are, folks in the like con circuit that made Conclave merch, and so you could just have a mini Pope Benitez bag charm, or like you put them into. I swear I saw someone make like an acrylic charm that was of the Sistine Chapel, and then you put all the guys in, and then you shake it.
Well, it's not a Sistine Chapel with Pope Innocent, so
he's not cis or a teen.
Yeah.
Gillian, no!
I'll be here for as long as recording is.
We really need to, like, generally get back. We need to do more things of, like, 2/3 majority. Like, I'm so sick of first past the post shit here.
Oh my god, yeah.
I was going to say something else about the cinematography. The series of shots during the fourth vote, when all the important candidates are like all alone among all the empty seats, culminating with like Adeyemi's isolation and like the camera pans out. That was so good.
And it wasn't originally in the script.
Oh,
I cite the Dark Tome. To say
the sacred text.
That amazing shot of all the cardinals walking with the umbrellas as they're about to do the final one. Originally, there was like a lot more hullabaloo about, do you be modern and take the bus, or do you walk like we used to in the old days? And then like it was like an I Am Spartacus like solidarity moment where we're like, no, we're all gonna walk in the rain to make the vote. Which I'm glad that plot line was cut, but that the amazing shot was there. I personally feel like the color grading was, or at least the colors of the movie were really striking, especially when we had all those scenes in that just sea of blue chairs in the theater and the red of the cardinals popping out. Mwah! Cinema.
Mwah.
This is why we make movies.
I also want to say I was very amused by just the images of cardinals on bus.
Yes.
Because they look so fancy, and then it's like, bus.
Bus.
The kind of bus that high schoolers take to go to baseball games.
Yeah.
They're going on their annual DC trip.
Yeah.
Oh god, psychic damage.
That opening of them like getting their last cigarettes in and like and texting and those just like striking shots. Can I also say, Stanley Tucci, the handsome man you are, I loved that this film was just filled with people that looked like regular people.
yes.
Loved that so much.
Guys who look like guys. Mwah.
Guys who look like dudes. Dudes being guys in a conclave.
Yes! What's better than this?
What's better than
Cardinals
this?
being...
Catholic Church.
Honestly, like, we need to let more actors just be actors instead of celebrities, because then maybe we could stop being Stanley Tucci, Stanley Tucci, Stanley Tucci. Although the name Aldo Bellini sounds so fake. Like that's the name that you say when somebody asks you what your name is and you're in Italy and you're like, I'm Aldo Bellini, I'm Italian, I'm definitely not American, hey!
I mean, if anyone's gonna play the Italian American Pope, it's gonna be Stanley Tucci, the man who was the Emmy-nominated host of a 2-season travel show just about Italy.
This has reaffirmed my desire to take a vacation to Italy, but...
I do have family in Italy. I visited them once with a fam, and I did manage to go to the Vatican. That was quite an experience.
There's actually in Italy there is a statue dedicated to somebody from my family.
Nice.
Oh wow,
Interesting.
that's so cool.
I have an ancestor who invented the ice cream cone, and so the town where he came from in Italy erected an ice cream sculpture in his honor, but it was the wrong kind of ice cream cone.
All right, give us the sculpture. This is the sculpture podcast now.
Yeah.
6 degrees of sculptures.
Intense waiting for ice cream.
All right, let's see if we can find it.
Oh, nice.
It's the wrong kind of cone!
Was it waffle or
He
what?
made the flat bottom kind.
Oh, okay.
Drives me and my dad nuts, which is how I'm pretty sure I know the tism in my family comes from his side.
Oh my god, Italo Pietro Marcioni. That's sick.
I have
Also,
in my notes Stanley Tucci playing gay ? Woke Pope. But not the woke Pope.
Yes.
He doesn't end up being the woke Pope.
Also, this is a tangent, and if it's cut, it's cut. But I must say, there was that part of Cardinal Lawrence figuring out how to use a printer. And there was like one little line where he presses a button, error flashes on the screen. Lawrence stares at the message, wondering if it's an obscure judgment. That printer is in fact judging you, Cardinal Lawrence. I have personal beef with all printers, and it's not even funny, and it's not even a joke. Printers hate my bloodline. I have had multiple people in my family get injured because of printers, and I have never in my life been able to get a printer to obey me on the first command. I hate all printers. I've written poetry about how I hate printers, and this film hates printers too. That is my stance.
I sleep in the same room as a printer, and it seems to be haunted. Every other week, it just wakes us up. Me and my girlfriend, and we're scared shitless. So
all printers are possessed by a bastard. I don't like printers.
all printers are possessed by John Paul II.
There we go.
It did make for that great scene with Sister Agnes coming up like, you're having trouble? Let me help.
Yep.
Because she was just like, we are going to destroy this bastard.
Oh, yes. I'm about to end this man's whole career.
I wrote it in my notes like, motherfucker, did you just commit political suicide to make a point? And then I was like, God, I wish more people did that.
Yeah, seriously. These motherfuckers hold on to their conventions except for Bellini, and that's the point.
Yes, precisely.
But anyway, yeah. Can we have more people willing to commit political suicide if it means doing the right fucking thing? Take somebody down with you in a blaze of glory. Goddamn.
Seriously, yeah. And like all criticisms, Adeyemi, the flawed, unfit to be Pope man you are. But when he just got to look at Tremblay and point at him and say Judas and then walk out, that was such a good line. And if it wasn't for Sister Agnes already having a mic drop moment, that would have been the highest point of the film. But I think Sister Agnes's whole speech of we're supposed to be silent, but God nonetheless gave us eyes and ears.
I love that she does her little curtsy. It's so good.
It's so good.
Is the curtsy in the script, or was that something Isabella Rossellini put in there?
Oh, well, I have it brought up right here. She genuflects and then walks out. Head held very erect.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Love her.
Such a queen.
Speaking of which, I did really appreciate like how she was clearly trying to protect Sister Shinumi. But like, did Lawrence break the seal of confession or whatever it's called by asking Adeyemi about it? Or like, Because the whole point of confession is that it's supposed to be private, right?
I mean, he never said, Shinumi told me this. He just said, what about the child?
Oh, so it's a loophole.
It was a loophole, and he was like, I'm bound by confession not to say anything. So he never said, I know that you know, but he made it known that he knew that Adeyemi knew that he knew that Shinumi knew that he knew that God knew, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes, it's entirely uncomplicated.
Third base.
Papal cream pie.
That can't be the episode name, but I want it to be.
I have wrought chaos upon this podcast.
No more so than usual.
Yeah. I think this and a few others are the rare films that are perfect for watching on a plane, because it's a quick 2.5 hours and it's just so contained, and it's just, you're just so sucked into the world that you can forget that you're in middle seat. I feel like the other two films that do this well are Crazy Rich Asians and Ocean's 11.
Mayor, I need to ask, did you watch an extended cut? Because the one I watched was 2 hours flat.
No, I just overestimated because I have ADHD.
That did not feel like 2 hours.
Exactly. It
I
feels
wouldn't have minded it being 2.5 hours. I mean, I came out of F1 being like, oh my God, how was that 2.5 hours? It felt like forever. But this, it was good. It was good. I think like the main problem I have with it is that if I were trying to watch it in the theater, I would be so frustrated because I'd want to be stopping to take notes. This is a movie that I want to annotate.
Exactly. That's why it's a good plane movie, because you're just sitting there in your own little world with your headphones and you're forgetting that there's turbulence.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, and this is really why I really like this film, because it's so absorbing and yet so calming at the same time. So you've nailed it. It's really kind of perfect for a plane.
It's nice to see that as like a compliment and not an insult, because the movies I remember most distinctly watching on the planes, honestly, it's The Hobbit, Desolation of Smaug. And I did that to help myself fall asleep on a transatlantic flight.
Yeah, that weren't great, but still both are my favorite dwarf.
I played Bopher in a stage version of Hobbit in college. It was fun. I am 5'11", so it was very funny that I was a dwarf.
Am I completely like misremembering? Did Monsignor O'Malley actually have an Irish accent, or was I missing it? Because, like, I swear to God,
he did not.
He did not seem Irish. I was like, boo!
I think he was given an accent in the reading that Io Debris.
Yes.
Well, Io Debris would know she is Irish.
Yes, she is Irish. Irish queen.
God, I love being from Boston.
O'Hara, O'Hara. There's no one as Irish as
Obama.
So here's another John Paul. It's the joke. It's the joke.
You look like Reagan.
Evil John Paul.
Fucking Ronald Reagan.
Listeners, imagine like you covered a man in talcum powder and he then saw Medusa. Mid-wave.
To be fair, in my home city of Krakow, we do have a Ronald Reagan Plaza. For some reason, I do not know why we idolize this man so much. It's terrible. He's terrible.
I don't know what
I hate
we
it.
do in America. Almost everything in America now was made exponentially worse by Ronald Reagan. To be clear, a lot of what's wrong with America is just foundationally baked into the concept of America. But Reagan definitely sped up the fucking process.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, the cowboy do make things worse.
PSA, stop letting celebrities be politicians like this.
Yes.
Everyone's like, oh, celebrities shouldn't be making comments about politics. They should stay out of it. Motherfucker, which party elected two Hollywood hacks?
I guess.
And fucking Jake Paul. I think Trump is endorsed fucking Jake Paul, and that's not
What?
Yes.
Okay.
Gross.
As Pope?
Okay.
Jake Paul the second. That's what we need.
And thus we come to the end of our confession. Will we be absolved of our sins? I think not, but
Never.
we do have to ask, is the Force with it?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yep, all right. We'll make it unanimous, and I guess that means that the Catholic Church is the dark side. Maybe not.
But
I don't know.
There was Palpatine, so...
Yeah. I mean, no matter what the end results are, somebody in the Catholic Church thinks we're going to hell, so might as well embrace it.
The real question is the papal cream pie with it?
Yeah.
Next
All right.
time you have a 2-hour flight, you know what to watch.
Hell yeah.
Who has Pluggables?
I am Cutie Puppy Fire on the socials. You can find me on Twitter, Blue Sky, Letterboxd. Give me a follow if you haven't, please.
You can also follow me on Letterboxd at Mer the Nerd. That's MERTHENERD. I have correct opinions, and you should listen to them.
And I do not have a letterbox, but you can find all my links and all the links to all the people I have ever collaborated with at linktr.ee/BrieCheddar. They can find the links to my Twitch, where I stream games every Monday, currently doing Amori, which is a great game. You can also find my podcast, Dogface Diaries, a retrospective about the cult sci-fi manga World Trigger. This is a series all about people running around with laser swords of some kind, so I'm sure there's some common ground with this podcast and it. First, it's a political action thriller, then it becomes a sports series, then a slice of life bureaucracy manga. It's a bit of a weird one, but well worth the read. And apart from that, I also have a podcast called Podcast Mon Adventures, where friend of the show, Henry Kathman, joins us to discuss Pokemon Special, the very creative manga adaptation of the Pokemon games.
And in the spirit of Star Wars, to be there for the people who need us, this episode is spotlighting folkshealth.com and their list of mutual aid funds and organizations to support trans, non-binary, and all other gender non-conforming communities in the United States. Covering everything from gender-affirming care to legal representation, this list makes it a little bit easier to exist in life's uncertainties. We're also going to spotlight itch.io's TTRPGs for Trans Rights Idaho, currently aiming to raise $50,000 for Trans Affirm Inc., and Boise's The Community Center. The link can be found in the description as well as on my various socials at Demisem. Our theme music is provided by Refractory Period, the two girls one beat synth pop sensation. You can follow them on Instagram at Refractory Period the band. To further support this podcast, please subscribe to us on your platform of choice, leave reviews, and share with your friends to boost our visibility, and consider joining our Patreon. And now, it's time to turn to the Chance Cube to see where our journey takes us next.
One.
That is a 1.
One.
It's a 1! Oh my god, we get to do things out of order. Next time we're going to talk about the original movie version of Willow! Oh god, I'm sad now.
Exciting.
Oh, fuck, Willow. Fuck it.
Yippee! We will see you all next time. Until then, stay safe, stay strong, stay beautiful. If you observe it, happy Easter, happy Passover. I don't remember if there were any other religious holidays around this time, but just for safety, Eid Mubarak, and may the Force be with you.
And also with you.
I shall pretend that this podcast never took place. But it has taken place.